if you learn how to raise capital, then there is really no limit to the real estate empire you can build. Guys, welcome to video 4 in the Raising Capital Masterclass. This is going awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm learning so much pace, and this is great. Guys, we're creating an entire playlist of this series, so we'll put that link below as well. Be sure to watch these videos. I mean, these are game changer. This is really how to build a legit, successful business. I hope you watching this right now, wherever you're at in your journey, you're not just looking at real estate as like a side hustle, but like the thing.
Yeah.
Because if you learn how to raise capital, then there is really no limit to the real estate empire you can build.
All roads lead to real estate, and the road is paved with private money.
That's it. Private money is the secret sauce to all of it. Because, and here's why, you have to think about this, there's institutional money that will lend the majority of the funds for a deal. If you get a good deal, and it doesn't matter, residential, commercial, whatever it is, there are lenders that will say, hey, I will give you the money you need if I'm in first position.
Yep.
And I will give you a certain amount of this money to do the deal. Not all of it. We do not want to fund all of it, but we'll give you a big chunk of the money to do the deal. So that means now, if you want to really go out there and do big things, you have to figure out how to get I call it secondary money, right? The part that the hard money's not going to cover, the institutional money's not going to cover. And that source of money can come from a lot of different ways, but the number one source is from private individuals that will give you their money for your deals.
Right.
And that's how you bridge the gap and get to 100% funding. That's how Pace is doing multi-million-dollar multifamily and big projects. It's how I build, luxury new construction. It's utilizing these different pools of money, knowing how to bring them all together. And now I'm doing a deal with none of my money in the deal.
There was a day one time I was walking a property of mine with a handful of people that just were like, hey, I want to see one of your projects. We walk into a room and somebody asked me, he's like, so how did you fund all this? We walk into the bathroom as I'm answering this question. And I look at the shower in the bathroom and I saw all the tile in the shower, but it wasn't grouted. It was just laid down by the tile guy. I go, you see the shower right now? And they go, yeah, I see the shower. I go, see all the tile? Is this shower complete? And they go, no, it's missing the grout. I go, the tile is the hard money, and the private money lender is the grout.
Love it.
It makes a complete picture, and you can go so much further by grouting in the little cracks and the missing pieces with the private money, and it actually makes a perfect thing. And somebody goes, oh my gosh, I finally understand how you're doing. It's weird how like sometimes a little picture of something, the hard money does the majority of the deal. And then you bring for the pieces that the hard money lender it's impossible for them to fund because they have rules and regulations.
Yeah.
And they're like, we made a comment in the previous video about hard money lenders will go to like football players, or they'll go to pension funds.
Yep.
They'll go to like the Utah pension fund. I know a hard money lender that all his money comes from the Utah pension fund, and his money is at 4%.
Yeah.
And he turns around and gives it away at 12. He is regulated on very strict guidelines of what he's able to cover in terms of a transaction. So he's like tile. There's a lot of missing pieces that he can't cover in, and that's when you bring the grout in and fill in all the cracks and make a complete shower.
Yeah, I mean, hard money is not flexible. You fit their box or you don't. They're not going to lend you the money.
Oh, that makes the analogy even better. The tile is very rigid, and the grout can be malleable and fill in all the cracks and do whatever you need the grout to do.
The tile is a square.
Yep.
You're not changing that. And private money is flexible. Like it's whatever you do with it that you agree on with your private money lender, right?
Yep.
So you can now bring that in, but you have to fit the rigid guidelines of hard money for the bulk of it. Yeah,
Dang,
that's really great.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, love that.
So where do we find
this?
Well,
it's hard to find, right? Like you have to have some kind of special connections, don't you, to get private money?
Not really. I tell people I think the first couple of these are going to be really cliche, and we'll get into some more in-depth stuff during this video. But the first one that I tell people is that you can be a private money lender right out of the gate. And a lot of people go, what are you talking about? I'm on your video, Jerry and Pace, trying to find private money lenders. You're going to throw that in my face? Well, here's the thing. Do you know about Gator, the thing that I created?
Heck yeah.
Okay, so here's where this came from. When I was a contractor, I had a guy named Ruben Dominguez that came to me, and he was one of my painting subcontractors. So I was a general contractor, and I had all these guys, tile guys, roofing guys, every little guy that was putting all the house together. Ruben was one of my painters, and he was just kind of starting out, so he didn't have a lot of cash flow. So he would come to me. First time he comes to me, he goes, Pace, One of my other GCs I'm working for wrote me a check for $6,000 and the check is not available until Monday. And I got to cover my payroll. And in construction, if somebody doesn't get paid on Friday, are they showing up to work?
They're
on
not
Monday?
coming back. Yeah.
No. Okay. Anybody, if you're in construction, you know this.
Yeah.
Whether you're a contractor, you're not a contractor, you know how important cash flow is to running your business. So Ruben calls me up. It's Friday morning, and he says, "Dude, I just deposited this check. It's not going to clear till Monday. I need to cover my payroll." And I go, "Okay. Like, what do you need from me?" And he goes, "I need to borrow $6,000 from you." And I go, "Okay, yeah, makes sense. Like, you do a lot of work with me. I can take it out of future jobs. Worst case scenario, you could paint houses for me. Like, I have like very little to lose. I'm pretty secure." I go, "What would you give me back if I, loan you the money?" And he goes, "I'll give you $6,000 back." I go, No, dude. I know you're going to give me my $6,000 back.
My principal.
Like, I want to know how much you're going to give me back on top of that." He goes, $6,000. What? You're gonna give me 100% return from Friday to next Monday? And he goes, "Yeah." So I give him $6,000. He gives me on Monday, he gives me $12,000 because he had multiple checks clearing. Okay. Yeah. So he pays me $12,000 back, and I'm like, "When can we do this again?" I ended up
call me next time you can't make payroll.
Right. I did this for Ruben for about a year and a half. Like every couple of months, I do it, and then I started helping other GCs. I would tell my other subcontractors, "Hey, if you're ever short on cash flow and you need something, I can give you 2,000 little bridge loans, all that kind of stuff." So what I learned there is that you can be a private money lender, as I call it, a Gator, because I didn't charge Ruben a percentage. I charge him a chunk of of money. So I call it a chunk, which is why I call it a Gator. Like, you're taking a chunk out of something. And then when I got into wholesaling, I would have wholesalers go, "Hey, Pace, I've got this deal and my inspection period's over and I haven't even opened escrow yet." I'm like, "Why haven't you opened escrow?" And they say, "Because I don't have the $1,000 earnest money."
The deposit, earnest money deposit.
Then when I bought a title company, and I'm an owner of a title company, I see all the numbers. 80% of wholesalers that open escrow with us don't have $1,000 to $2,000 in cash that they can open up on all these deals for earnest money. And so I go, "Oh my gosh, this thing I was doing for Ruben Dominguez, I can just go to these wholesalers." And so every time a wholesaler opens escrow at my title company, my escrow officers are instructed to tell them, "Hey, just so you know, we need to get your earnest money, and we do have somebody that will loan that earnest money to you." And that's where I came up with Gator. So for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, you can make a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 return just by covering a wholesaler's earnest money. So you can be a private money lender. And I teach that, actually. I teach people how to become Gators.
Yeah, we'll actually put a link below can we put a link below if someone wants to learn about the Gator program?
It's crazy because there's people that are like, "Wait, so you didn't have to find the deal, you don't have to flip the deal, you don't have to manage the deal, you don't have to own the deal. All you have to do is just fund the earnest money and JV with the wholesaler." So like, here's an average return on that. So I'll see a lot of Gators go in, they'll put $2,000. It's not even their money, because like in the Gator program, we teach people how to go get a line of credit through another company. So they get a line of credit to use somebody else's money to loan the $2,000. And the last year we got over $20 million of lines of credit for the Gators. $20 million. So they use their $2,000, and the wholesaler's average fee is about 12 to 15 grand. And the Gator is getting $3,000, sometimes $4,000 return. So they put in two, they get their two back, and they'll get $4,000 back in a 10-day period.
You know where this is great is you guys, a lot of my students do on market. And if you do on market,
agents want
all
1%.
agents require earnest monies.
And it's what do you see the average is 1%, right?
Yeah, that's pretty typical. I mean, and like lower price markets, $500 to $1,000 is pretty normal. But a lot of markets, that earnest money might be $2,500, $5,000.
Wholesalers don't typically have
wholesalers are like, I know wholesalers that don't do on market because they don't want to deal with the earnest money.
Right,
and I'm like, why? You're missing out on great deals because of the earnest money?
Well, because they're fearful if you get something under contract, the agent is going to say, "We need the receipt from escrow that you deposited the earnest money." And so,
or you have no contract.
Or you have no contract. It's an invalid contract if you haven't put.
And they're on top of it. Trust me. Like if you sign a contract with a real estate agent, they're going to be on you if that earnest money is not in escrow in 24 hours.
Because it's their butt.
Because they know they don't have a legit contract if there's no earnest money.
Right, which means they're not getting paid their commission.
Yeah.
So, one, if you guys are a wholesaler and you don't have earnest money, you need a Gator to come in. Because here's the thing, most private money lenders don't want to lend $3,000 to you.
Yeah.
Right, like you think about a private money lender, we'll talk about like how to structure them in another video, but they're usually looking for at least a 10% return on average, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but 10% is kind of the return. If I gave you $3,000 for 10 days for your earnest money, what's my actual return? $37?
Yes, it doesn't even make sense.
It makes zero sense. So when you change it up and you go, look, it's a short-term loan, you're putting in $3,000, I'll give you $3,000 back, you're making 100% return. It ends up being like a 40,000% return in 1 year if you kept it rolling.
And you know, for the borrower, it doesn't even matter that, because here's why. If you can get your $15,000 wholesale done by borrowing $3,000 and paying back $6,000, and now you make $9,000, but you got your deal done, would you rather make $9,000? Would you rather give up double the money to get the earnest money, to borrow the earnest money, and you make $9,000, or sit at home and not do a deal?
I have a wholesaler, his name's Joel in Texas, that I do this for a lot. I've got a guy, Christian, right now, same thing. He said, once I started becoming his Gator, essentially you're JVing with somebody. You're not even, I don't even look at it as a loan. I just go, hey, I'll bring the EMD to the table if we JV on this deal.
Yeah, it's just a JV, really.
It's a JV. So they go, so Joel, he says, because of you, I went from doing 2 deals a month to now doing 6 deals a month, because now I actually have the EMD funded. I don't worry about getting a bunch of deals under contract simultaneously and having $20,000 out there in EMD, because it's your money and you're making money on it, but I make way more money long term.
Yeah.
And he could scale, and beforehand he was doing 2 deals a month on his own. Now he's doing 6 deals a month. I'm funding 4 of them, usually on average, every single month. And he now was able to start affording to hire people to build his company and get himself out of the business a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things in any business is your cash conversion cycle, how fast you can turn the cash.
Right.
So this is solving a major problem for a lot of people by fixing that cash conversion cycle. You know, tying up earnest money until the closing 30 days later. If you're able to not use that valuable cash because you can borrow it now, it's going to solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. You could borrow those, even small chunks like earnest money. You can borrow that money. Right. Don't ever let I don't have the money stop you from doing real estate. Like it's not the money. It's your ability to go find the money that's stopping you, not the money. The money never stops you from doing this business. So Gator allows you to either be a lender with small chunks of money where you can lend that to other people that need those.
Or find a Gator that brings your EMD to the table.
Or find one. Like find a Gator or be a Gator. The point here is that with private money, you can go to other individuals that will fund and fill in the gaps. They'll fill in the gaps that you need to do your deal. Right now, sellers are running around direct to seller with no earnest money.
Right.
And
wholesalers.
Wholesalers. That's a big no-no.
People ask, I go, how you got other offers coming? They go, yeah, we got other offers coming in. Great. I'm not going to ask you what their purchase price is. I just want to make sure, what does their earnest money look like? And they go, what does that have to do with it? I go, that earnest money is the engagement ring to a real estate transaction. Okay. And if they haven't given you an engagement ring, how serious are they about marrying you? And if the bigger the engagement ring, the bigger the commitment. In a competitive market, one of your competitive advantages is EMD.
Yeah. And guys, we're talking all about raising capital. So what's great about this is, you know, the players like the Pace Morbys that are doing these big earnest monies, you know, traditionally are wiping out all the beginner wholesalers or people that can't do that. Well, now with Gator, no one has that excuse now.
Right.
Right? Like you can borrow the earnest money. Now you are become that player in the marketplace. Yeah, that's the point.
And here's the thing too, is there's a lot of people, you know, I'm sure you have them, I have a lot of them that come in and they go, I'm so busy with my 9-to-5 job that I'll get serious about wholesaling when I quit my 9-to-5 job or when my husband finishes school or when I finish school or whatever. I can't get started yet because okay, well, why can't you be a Gator? Because a Gator doesn't require cold calling, doesn't require finding or negotiating a deal. You don't even know how to have to know how to comp a deal, fill out really nothing.
And you're JVing on deals.
You're JVing on the deal, and you don't have to be the person that finds the buyer. negotiates with the buyer. You literally are doing nothing but coming in and going, I'm funding the EMD with my line of credit.
Awesome. Okay, guys, we're gonna be moving. Maybe now the next video is actually gonna be where to find private money.
There you go.
Because this is how Pace and I roll. We just, wherever it goes, it goes. So, okay, so let's do that. Let's now, for reals this time, on the next video, let's cover where do you find private money lenders. Awesome. Thank you, Pace. See you guys.